Greer. I'm a crop circle researcher and filmmaker, and I have been in more than 100 crop circles in the last 10 years. I have a communication with the circle makers that happens usually at 3 in the morning. When you walk into a crop circle, you're going in a tram line, which is the tractor tire lines where it's already laid down. So you don't want to ever disturb the field of the farmers. As long as you stay in the tram lines, it's considered etiquette. And what I feel in the crop circles is a very strong, enhanced electromagnetic field. And almost everybody can feel it unless you're completely insensitive or not willing. The interesting thing is that as you're walking in the tram line, about 10 feet, 20 feet before you get there, the hair stands up on your arm, so you know you're close. Once you go in a crop circle and the whole body lights up head to toe, there's no doubt. It's like when somebody has a sighting of a spaceship. You can't tell them they didn't. So when people say to me, all crop circles are fake, I say to them, well, there you go. That's really it. There was one scientist in the world that I know of that went public. His name is William Levengood. He's very, very famous. And he's in the Guinness Book of World Records for writing more scientific papers that made it into science journals than anyone else on the planet. And he's the man that proved that not only are crop circles real, but they're coming out of the earth. And what Levengood discovered is that it is plasma balls of light that are laying the crop circles down in seconds. But the way the plasma gets energized enough is through these spinning, counter-rotating vortices. So it's a really clear science that makes sense. And when we realize that they're actually initially coming out of the ground, it really makes sense. Why would the mother be complaining? Well, gosh, we're fracking her, we're draining her blood, and then we're fracking her some more. And we're dumping stuff. And we're poisoning everything. And so she's been shooting up these messages for 200 years that we know of. And humanity's just gotten worse and worse. And a lot of the most important messages are put in binary code. They'll put it in a code that they know can be deciphered by a mathematician or a computer. And some of the most important binary codes have really referred to times in history, such as the alien face and the disc. I'll just point out that this was the year after 9/11 happened. And the message was, beware the bearers of false gifts and their broken promises. Much pain, but still time. Believe there is good out there. We oppose deception. Conduit closing. Crop circles are messages that are being written to us from inner earth, from our ET brothers and sisters. Crop circles are not only real, but the seeds inside the crop circles can produce up to 400% more food, with up to 75% more nutritional value per seed. Well, of course they're going to suppress it. When Monsanto owns the government, they don't want healthy food to be multiplied by 400%. In the last year or two, the military has really nailed the farmers and asked them not only to not let people in, but to mow out the crop circle on the first or second day that it arrives. We always fly over it and we always get photos, but then the next day it's like a blown field. So when we see these farmers destroying the field, it's very interesting that a lot of times the circle makers will just come back and hit them with a new pattern in the same field the very next day. I have been wonderfully hacked for 4 years. My phone, my computer, everything I do has been unbelievably difficult. And you know, my answer is, I'm sorry for those that are doing it, because I'm not stopping. So they're actually initially coming out of the earth in pairs. They're coming out in the spinning vortices. One's going clockwise, the other's going counterclockwise. So William Levengood proved that they were coming out of the ground, and as they come up spinning, they've already predetermined what they need from humanity, from their ET friends. They're already with their plasma energy, their frequencies that need to be added to what she sent up. And when the three frequencies meet, there are some that are not ET at all, they're just Earth and us. Some of them are humans meditating, and then the circle happens the next day. I have 3 of those in my movies. They blow into these beautiful balls of light, radiant orange balls of light, which all of us have seen that do night watch. And they communicate, 2 plasmas communicate, and bang, that field goes down in seconds. The problem in the field now is that the famous crop circle researchers still today are not coming up with the new information. They're kind of stuck in the 1980s and 90s data, and the fact that they're not really talking about the great work of William Levengood when they actually know the great work, but rather dissing him. It's a sad time in our history where the money is going behind misinformation rather than information. I am committed to make a difference here, and it's not me, anybody special, but the fact that I work with the circle makers and I find these are so incredibly real and beautiful, it just keeps me excited. And things keep happening to me where I'm in communication. It's not like I'm even asking or looking for it, they just keep showing up.
The fundamental conclusion is an extraterrestrial presence, and we absolutely must acknowledge it as soon as possible. After that, you'll be surprised how quickly things start sorting themselves out and getting resolved.
So my conclusion is that I think we are an inch from disclosure. I don't think they can hold it back. I think that it's not even about getting the government to tell us the truth, it's about leaving them behind.
There's a lot of evidence that advanced civilizations and possibly non-human entities have been here and occupied the planet in the past.
Some of them seem to be astronauts coming here from another planet who have technology that's so highly advanced that it looks like magic to us.
Well, my 1990s book, Alien Agenda, started off with the premise that UFOs are real, not something fictional or imaginary, and I think that's beyond dispute today.
Let's get this out in the open regardless of whatever our government thinks. Again, they've proven they're not always right, and they've proven that we need, as American citizens, to get this information out in the open.
Disclosure could potentially happen within the next 20 years, and I'm hoping it does, because it's going to change everything for the better.
Well, my conclusion is that we're dealing with intelligently controlled extraterrestrial spacecraft visiting our planet. We're dealing with a cosmic Watergate, that there are no good arguments against those two conclusions, and we're dealing with the biggest story of the millennium being treated like Alice's Tea Party, instead of how important it really is.
A fabrication of the human mind, or the greatest story never told? And if the truth is finally revealed, how will it affect the human condition? We may soon find out.